Welcome to Whispers and Confessions. There might be a twist waiting, so please make sure to watch until the end. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Let's begin right away.
I'm Harrison, a 36-year-old overthinker with a knack for planning every detail, working a standard office job. My wife, Allison, is 35, just a year younger, and we're a family of three with our lively 4-year-old son, Jaden. We live in a quiet suburban neighborhood on the outskirts of Chicago, where tree-lined streets hum with kids biking past manicured lawns, a cozy bubble of picket fences and dead-end streets, just like you'd imagine. Allison and I met at work, clicked instantly, and eventually tied the knot. I still remember a jittery knot in my gut when I proposed under a starry sky. That nervous thrill turned to joy when we welcomed Jaden years later. Building a family was always our shared dream, so marriage felt like the most seamless next chapter. I'm in industrial equipment sales for a manufacturing company, which means I'm laser-focused and driven on the job, but when I get home, I leave it all behind for my family. Allison used to handle admin work at the same company, but stepped away after our wedding. Once Jaden started preschool, she picked up a part-time gig. She's practical, with an infectious, sarcastic wit. She'll crack a quip about my burnt toast and have us both in stitches. That keeps our home filling with easy chuckles. Our quiet delights come from weekend moments spent reading picture books to Jaden, chuckling at his goofy reactions. We make a point to treasure our late-night hours together, always searching for ways to keep things from getting stale. Honestly, we're pretty in sync with each other's needs and vibes, forging a bond that feels unbreakable. Yet, even with the comfort of our daily rhythm, I sometimes feel a hunger for something unexpected. When that itch surfaces, it's an odd blend of shame and nagging curiosity that I can't quite shake. One of our weekend traditions is hitting Jaden's favorite park nearby. Even if one of us is beat, we rally the energy to head out. Kids are little balls of nonstop energy, and we're convinced it's better for Jaden to run wild outside than be cooped up indoors. The moment we roll up to the park, his face beams with boundless glee. Seeing his eyes light up at the sight of the sandbox or the creak of rusty swings, I think, man, I'm relieved we made it, a quiet pride rising. His tireless spirit reminds me why we push through our own weariness. One Saturday, as usual, Allison, Jaden, and I cruised over to the park, the scent of fresh-cut grass hitting us as we pulled up by the sandbox. We settled under a shady oak tree, keeping tabs on Jaden as he played, when Allison tossed out a comment about her part-time job. "Jennifer's out for her baby, so work's about to be chaos," she said with a laid-back tone, shooting me a quick wink. "Yeah, sounds rough," I mumbled, already zoning in on Jaden, glad for these weekend escapes. He'd started goofing around with another kid, and I couldn't help but grin watching his tiny hands dig into the sand, chuckling with his new pal. The other child was a delightful toddler, probably a bit younger than Jaden, with pigtails bouncing as she laughed. I later learned she was around 3 and named Olivia. Jaden's the kid who'll share his last cracker with a stranger, so they were soon thick as thieves, trading a shovel and bucket like they'd known each other forever. Then, a gentle voice came from behind. "Hey, thanks a bunch for letting Olivia crash your son's sandcastle party." I turned to see a couple about our age standing there. The guy had a chill aura with a boyish smirk. His tan skin, toned build, and quiet confidence popped, even in a plain t-shirt and jeans, and he had a habit of rubbing his neck when he spoke, often punctuating his words with a quick "you know." His dark brown hair, striking green eyes, and sharp jawline gave him a grounded, athletic appeal. The woman exuded a captivating, down-to-earth beauty rather than anything showy. Her soft blonde hair tumbled over her shoulders, glinting in the sunlight, and her deep blue eyes were clear and mesmerizing. With subtle makeup and a comfy dress, her graceful way just pulled you in, shining through in small gestures like tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. Her disarming grin put you at ease, carrying a soothing charm that drew you closer. I stood up, grinned, and said, "No worries, I was just overthinking how to keep him entertained anyway." The guy gave a slight nod and asked, "Mind if I get your name?" His voice was low and steady, a flicker of curiosity in his gaze. I introduced myself. "I'm Harrison. This is my wife, Allison, and that's our 4-year-old, Jaden, over there," motioning toward her. She gave a small wave and chirped, "Hello," with a shy nod. They returned the gesture. "I'm Ethan. This is my wife, Sophia, and that's our 3-year-old, Olivia, playing with your son," Ethan said. Sophia looked at us with a friendly smile, her flawless skin and easy poise adding to her appeal. Her quiet humor surfaced in a playful eye roll as she listened. We swapped intros smoothly, and since our kids were so close in age, the chat kicked off naturally. Ethan and I were nearly the same age, and our wives were in a similar bracket too. Maybe because our family setups echoed each other, there was an instant rapport, like we'd known them for years. Sophia asked with a soft chuckle, "Do you guys live around here, Harrison?" I answered, "Yeah, we're in a suburb just outside the city. This park's the closest big one to us, so we're regulars." Ethan laughed. "I'm in IT. I work from home a ton, basically glued to Zoom, living off endless coffee to stay sharp, so my schedule's loose, but separating work from downtime's a nightmare." I laughed. "Better than dodging rush hour traffic like me. I'm in equipment sales, always hustling on the road." Allison and Sophia hit it off over preschool zones, and when I saw Sophia laugh kindly over a story about Jaden's toy obsession, Allison relaxed, keeping the convo rolling with ease. For a fleeting moment, I wondered if these two might sprinkle some extra zest into our everyday grind. After 3 straight weekends of park meetups, we kept running into them. We opened up about the usual gripes, work stress, the chaos of parenting, and soon, swapping PB&J sandwich tips turned into our weekend ritual. While the kids tore around, us adults would kick back on a bench, trading stories. We were mid-laugh over a spilled juice box when Ethan threw us for a loop. "Aren't you sick of just doing the park every weekend? If you're down, why not swing by our place this time?" He grinned, adding, "Meeting only here feels like we're missing out. The kids can mess around freely at our house." Sophia nodded with an encouraging smile. My chest buzzed with an odd spark, a chance to shake things up, and my mind raced with what-ifs. Allison and I swapped quick, surprised glances and said, "Are you sure that's cool?" We were honestly stoked to be invited so soon after meeting. So, the next weekend, after letting the kids wear themselves out at the park, we headed to Ethan and Sophia's spot. Their apartment sat smack in the city center, but the airy living room with exposed brick walls and minimalist vibe grabbed my attention. The kids sprawled out with toys across the floor while we sank into the couch, cracking up over binge-worthy true crime docs on Netflix, shuddering at the creepy twists. Watching everyone trade toy tips seemed second nature, I thought. This kind of vibe is pretty awesome. Hours melted away, the hum of city traffic outside fading as evening crept in, and the kids started getting peckish. Ethan and Sophia offered to throw together a quick dinner. We tried to help, but Sophia waved us off with a kind smile. "It's been ages since we've had guests, so just unwind." So, we lounged in the living room. They popped open some beer and wine, and Ethan, clearly a fan of a good drink, nudged me, "Ready for another pour, man?" His sly grin reeled me in, and I got swept into the mood, knocking back glass after glass. As the buzz kicked in, any distance between us dissolved. Allison doesn't usually drink much, but when Sophia urged her with, "Come on, let's share a glass tonight," she caved. Her cheeks flushed a gentle red, her usual edge melting into something tender. Her eyes held a dreamy, hazy shimmer, and seeing her like that sent a jolt shooting through me. Her glowing skin and the way her neck gleamed under the light, it was a whole new kind of irresistible, a reminder of why she's my anchor, even now. Ethan and Sophia obviously shared a tight bond, casually linking hands or brushing each other's hair during our talks, not shy about sweet gestures right in front of us. When Sophia tilted her head with a quiet giggle at Ethan's touch, it felt so effortless, and the way her blonde locks grazed his fingers sparked a restless tingle in me I couldn't pin down. Watching them, my pulse skipped. As the kids started rubbing their eyes, clearly ready to crash, Sophia suggested, "How about we get them bathed first?" Ethan agreed. "Yeah, let's handle it. Harrison, you guys just hang tight." And they ushered Jaden and Olivia off to the bathroom. Ethan's tone was gentle, and he managed the kids with a seasoned ease. Since this was totally new territory for Allison and me, we started to object. "No, really, we're good," but Sophia smiled. "They're used to this, no worries," and off they went. Alone in the living room, the sudden quiet felt heavy, the faint tick of a clock amplifying it. Allison gave a half smile and said, I don't know, they just seem so in sync, like they've got it all figured out. A hint of awe flickered in her eyes, and I nodded. Yeah, but I'm glad Jaden went along without a tantrum. We locked eyes, sharing a blend of relief and jittery anticipation about this unfamiliar setup. I reached for her hand, and she returned a slight smirk with a nod. About half an hour later, we heard the kids' joyful squeals from the bathroom, mingled with Ethan and Sophia's chuckles. Sounded like the adults were in the tub with them. At home, bathing with Jaden is routine, but knowing another family was in there together felt weirdly personal. Part of me envied their ease, another shrank from the intimacy. When they returned, Sophia wore a thin t-shirt and shorts, looking relaxed but somehow transformed. Normally so composed, her post-bath flush made her skin glow with an enticing presence. Her damp blonde hair clung to her shoulders, brushing my arm as she passed, and the way her curves showed through the light fabric was utterly captivating. The faint outline of her full breasts beneath the shirt hit me like a punch, and I had to avert my gaze. My body smoldered, her scent and the imagined silk of her skin looping through my mind, reeling me in. I'm pretty sure she caught me staring because she shot me a subtle, daring smile. Her gaze carried a teasing edge, like a quiet challenge, only ramping up my nerves. The kids, completely zonked, curled up on the couch and started dozing off. Hearing Jaden's gentle snores, I asked, "This cool with you guys?" But Sophia reassured me. "It's all good. I'll tuck them in the other room," carefully lifting them. Allison and I pitched in, and after settling the kids, we shifted to grown-up talk. There was still booze on the table, and Ethan grinned. "Since we're all here, let's have another round," topping off our glasses. His sly smirk loosened the vibe even more. We dove into grittier, unguarded truths about married life, things we rarely unpack. Ethan leaned in, curious. "Harrison, did having a kid shake things up with you and Allison?" A bit tipsy, I swirled my glass, the clink of ice against it punctuating the pause, admitting, "Yeah, things changed, no doubt. Not for the worse, though. If anything, we've gotten tighter at teaming up. But us time? That's taken a hit. Balancing date nights with diaper duty ain't easy." Still, we hold on to our nighttime breaks. Allison shifted beside me, but the easy atmosphere must have relaxed her because she added shyly, "I think we mesh pretty well in that area." Her cheeks glowed deeper, her eyes shining with a bashful glow. Sophia tilted her head, smiling. "It's rough carving out couple time with the kids awake, though. We often just collapse from exhaustion." Ethan shrugged. "True, but sometimes, even when you're wiped, pushing for that connection can be a total refresh, right?" I grinned. "No question." Allison, now more comfortable, chimed in naturally. "Yeah, keeping that flame going matters." Her eyes radiated a cozy light. Sharing this with another couple was uncharted for us, but oddly, it didn't feel wrong. Instead, there was this unspoken camaraderie blooming. As the convo gained steam, Sophia dropped a shocker. "Harrison, Allison, if you're up for it, why don't you crash here tonight?" My breath caught, thrown off guard, my mind already spinning with pros and cons. Stay over? That's kinda out of nowhere. Allison looked just as floored, shaking her head. "Oh, we'd hate to be a burden." But Ethan jumped in with genuine concern. "It's late. Waking the kids to trek home would suck, right? Just rest here, no hassle." Sophia added with a smile. "We've got a spare bedroom, so you won't feel squeezed." After a flicker of doubt, Allison and I swapped uncertain looks. Then she nodded. "Can we take you up on that?" As I agreed with a half smile. Sophia tossed in, "The bathroom's free if you want to freshen up. Grab any towels you need." Her eyes were kind but held a mischievous glint, and I couldn't shake this odd buzz of expectation. Showering in someone else's place was already strange, but with the night's drinks humming through me, I felt this antsy thrill. As I stepped under the water, the steady patter drowning out my racing thoughts, Allison, blushing a bit, splashed some on me. Her touch sent a jolt shooting through me, and as the droplets traced her skin, my breath hitched. My gaze locked on her wet body. The way the water sculpted her curves, it was spellbinding. Her neck, the cling of her soaked shirt outlining every line, pure temptation. Touching her, I felt a storm of love mixed with nerves about the night's weird energy. "Are we okay with this?" raced through my mind. but her steady gaze assured me we'd manage. I pulled her close by the waist, kissed her fiercely, the taste of lingering mint on her lips grounding me, and murmured, "You're so damn stunning." She gave a bashful laugh, nestling her face into my chest. Soaking in the tub, Allison grinned. "This feels so bizarre, but kinda exciting, huh?" I nodded, "Right? Just being somewhere new gets the blood pumping, doesn't it?" I squeezed her hand. Washing each other felt rejuvenating, and after stepping out, we toweled off. As we changed by the sink near the bathroom, a sound drifted from the bedroom. The door was cracked open, and straining to listen, I caught what sounded like Sophia's breathy tone. As her gasps and Ethan's low murmurs sharpened through the gap, my pulse thundered with stark tension. Shame for intruding clawed at me to look away, but I was frozen. An unstoppable draw to their private moment gripped me tight. Allison and I, hooked by some unspoken urge, peeked cautiously through the crack. In the dimly lit bedroom, Ethan had Sophia wrapped in his arms on the bed. Her eyes were shut, face flushed and dewy as she melted into him. Her skin shimmered with a heated glow, smooth and flawless, the thin nightgown barely veiling her curves. Raw, breathtaking seduction. Her quiet moans slipped out as her body arched under Ethan's touch, and I couldn't tear my eyes away, my chest tight. My whole frame sizzled, nearly forgetting to inhale. My grip on Allison's hand clenched, and she, too, watched in stunned silence. Then Sophia seemed to beckon us, whispering, "Why don't you join us?" Her voice was silk, dripping with allure, as her hand curled slowly in invitation. Her eyes burned with desire, parted lips, and wet gaze hooking me completely. Ethan, sensing us, tipped his chin in a subtle signal. Floored, yet swept by the boozy fog, I felt myself drawn forward. Allison wavered at first, but Sophia's sultry stare pulled her along with me into the bedroom, her trembling nod mirroring my own chaos, her grip tightening on mine. My heart pounded with dread and exhilaration, a wild craving for the taboo overtaking reason. Ethan's offer spun my head. My love for Allison stood firm, but right then, I couldn't fight the draw of this dangerous leap. Seeing the same mix of doubt and desire in Allison's eyes, we shared one last glance and stepped into it together. Allison whispered, barely audible, "This is so new for us, but somehow I feel secure." I gripped her hand tight, replying, "Same here. Feels like we're diving into uncharted waters." Ethan rose slowly from the bed, stepping close, and said, "Tonight, let's mix things up, trade partners, and just feel something fresh. A little switch can be good, right?" His voice was low, commanding, his gaze provoking. My mind was a storm, but the primal urge exploding inside me was unstoppable. On the bed, Sophia's eyes flicked between Allison and me, her smile tender yet loaded with lust. Those blue eyes gleamed in the low light, pulling me in like a current. Her thin nightgown teased the lush curves of her body, her thighs smooth and beckoning. Meanwhile, Allison glanced at Ethan, her expression a blend of curiosity and soft allure. Ethan reached for her slowly, his tanned skin and strong arms drawing her near. Seeing it stirred a bitter pang of jealousy in me, but it was drowned by a searing wave of expectation. I steadied my breath and sat on the bed. Sophia slid next to me, her faint scent hitting me like a drug. Her skin glowed with a charged sheen, silky under the dim light, and her breath so close sent shivers racing down my spine. She murmured, "Harrison," her tone thick with craving, her eyes soft but searing. I laid my hand over hers, hesitant at first. The spark from her skin dragged me in deeper, and though we tested the waters, there was no hint of retreat. Ethan's hand rested on Allison, his lips inching toward hers, and she closed her eyes, meeting him halfway. Their breaths mingled, filling the room with a charged hum, and I swallowed hard. Turning to Sophia, I mirrored them, pressing my lips to hers. They were hot, wet, and ravenous, the sizzle of her mouth driving me to the brink. I trailed kisses down her neck, savoring her skin, and she quivered, soft moans escaping. Her breasts were plush, heated, yielding under my touch, each brush of my fingers pulling sharper gasps, reeling me in further. Sophia leaned back, her gaze raw with need, eyes screaming hunger. Her lips parted, breath jagged, and I lost all control, consumed by the drive to claim every inch. My hand slid down her thigh, grazing her most tender spot, and she shuddered, her moans louder, desperate. When her body opened to me, a bolt of pure electricity ripped through. I pushed into her, deep and relentless, her tight warmth gripping me as her cries echoed in the room. I thrust with feral need, chasing that edge. Even as Sophia's heat consumed me, Allison's gasps kept my core bound, her laugh from our first date flashing in my mind. As Sophia's breaths turned frantic, her body trembling beneath me, I couldn't hold back. Time shattered as her cries and my pulse exploded together. Pleasure slammed over me like a tsunami, my frame shaking as I let go inside her, mind blanking in a white-hot surge. Hearing Allison's gasps nearby, I sensed her release, her fulfillment washing over me with a strange calm amid the rush. Seeing her body arch in ecstasy, her face aglow with bliss, we shared a profound, unspoken tie. Each time Sophia clenched around me, sharp rushes tore through, but my core stayed bound to Allison, unwavering. This wasn't just desire. It felt like a path to understanding each other in a bold, new light. Sophia purred, "My turn to please you," and lowered her lips to me. Her mouth was sultry, soft, and deft, her tongue and hands working me into a frenzy. As her full breasts pressed against me, an indescribable wave coursed through, and I gripped her hair, groaning loud. Allison, panting nearby, touched Ethan, her fingers moving with intent, her eyes dark with want, and that sight pushed me even closer to the precipice. We all shared this raw, new charge with mutual respect, no judgment. I knew deep down this forbidden night would only fortify my bond with Allison, though a whisper of regret lingered beneath the afterglow, wondering if we'd crossed a line. When the intensity ebbed, I looked at her, my love as fierce as ever. If anything, this wild ride cemented our trust in ways I hadn't foreseen. As the night deepened, Allison and I shared a quiet look. She sidled over, gripping my arm, and I felt her warmth, offering a slight tilt of my mouth. Her eyes still carried the night's fervor, and I held her hand tight, grounding myself. A trace of unease hung in the air, but we reaffirmed our connection, hands clasped. Exhausted yet content, a whisper of regret lingered beneath the buzz as we drifted off. My body was heavy, spent, but my mind hummed. In the corner of my eye, Ethan and Sophia were settling down too. The four of us exchanged silent glances. Thankfully, the kids slept soundly. This was our secret tie, just us adults, and that veiled edge made my pulse tick a little faster. Next morning, I woke to Allison's soft breathing beside me in the still dim bedroom. Ethan and Sophia were already up, gone from the room. I got up quietly and wandered to the living room. In the kitchen, Sophia was fixing breakfast, while Ethan played with Jaden and Olivia, laughing. It looked like any normal family morning, but last night's fire was etched sharp in my thoughts. Sophia caught my eye with a subtle look. "Morning, Harrison. Sleep okay?" Her smile was friendly, but her tone teased at last night's edge, and it made warmth creep up my neck, though I played it cool. Not exactly restful, but I'm fine." She let out a quiet hee-hee, and I swear that laugh held a haunting echo of the night before. Soon, Allison shuffled in, rubbing sleepy eyes, mumbling, "Morning." And when our gazes met, she looked away, a bit shy. Her cheeks were still pink, her eyes hinting at the night before. Seeing her, my heart did a little dance, but I also felt our steady foundation beneath it all. Breakfast convo was surface level, but our knowing looks carried an unspoken pact, a fumbled coffee pass revealing nerves as I nearly knocked over a sugar jar. Holding Allison's hand, I knew we'd grown tighter, even as I wrestled with how to frame this whole ordeal in my mind. We planned to head home that morning. Jaden piped up, "Can I play with Olivia again?" I smiled, "Sure, buddy. Next time, let's have them over to our place." Sophia added, "Jaden, you're welcome anytime." And he beamed, "Yay." As we laced up our shoes at the door, Sophia leaned in, whispering, "Maybe we'll cross paths again soon." Her tone was teasing yet earnest, sending a tingle down my spine, though it also got me wondering how this silent connection might shift our path, especially with Jaden in the mix. Deep down, I know Allison and I are both drawn to explore that pull of risk again. On the way home, with Jaden zonked out in the stroller, we finally got a moment alone. I looked at her, asking, "How are you feeling about last night?" She nodded, "Yeah, it was intense, but not in a bad way. Honestly, I feel more bound to you than ever." as if we've opened a new door for us, like those late-night talks in our first apartment. She hooked her arm through mine. I pressed. Think we can handle more adventures like this down the road? She smiled. As long as we're in it together, we've got this. Her words eased me, bringing both comfort and a sense of duty. Back home, after tucking Jaden in, we crashed on the living room couch, catching our breath and replaying yesterday. Our eyes met, and we kissed without a word. Her lips were still so inviting, and that intense memory surged back vivid. I teased, "Allison, you were unreal last night," letting my reaction show. She laughed, flustered. "Hey, hold up. Shower first." We cracked up, shedding clothes fast and jumping into the bathroom, wrapped in each other under the spray. We hung out under the water, running hands over old marks, ignoring the squeak of the old shower head before desire took over. As I pushed into her, a piercing rush coursed through me. Her moans bounced off the tiles as we climbed to a complete release together, my body trembling with hers, a quiet promise to always return to each other. The weekend flew by, and soon it was back to early alarm clocks and rushed coffee. Work for me, part-time for Allison, and dropping Jaden at preschool. But that night persists in my heart, tinting even the mundane. It's a memory that colors my days, and Allison and I are growing stronger, being upfront about our wants and limits. Come weekend, we'll hit that park, Jaden running wild with Olivia as I scan for Ethan and Sophia, wondering if we'll chase something bold again, recalling that first sandbox laugh. I'm not sure, but we're ready to face whatever comes, trusting in each other. Allison and I lean on the foundation we've built. With that thought, I gear up for Monday morning like always. Another standard, packed day at work lies ahead. Yet, there's a fresh pulse beneath the surface, alive and stirring. In front of the mirror, I knot my tie, smooth my hair, and head out. I think of Allison, of that night's imprint, and a quiet twist of my lips slips out. I swing the front door open, breathing in the crisp sting of morning air, the sun slicing through morning fog. A blend of thrill and uncertainty stirs, yet I own them as my own, embracing them as part of my story. With that, I step forward, ready for whatever's next. Top Jungjunde.